Okay, welcome everyone. Welcome to my channel, Miss Silly Lessons Learned. I want to take a moment to thank my very first guest, Dr. Medlock Ibu. So I'll give her a chance in a moment to actually introduce herself. So I hope that, everyone, really take a moment to listen to what she has to say about education and career. All right, so we're going to start off with, the very first question. Dr. Ibu, can you please introduce yourself and, tell me your job title, your job description?
Hello, everyone. I'm Robin Medlock Ibu. I am a professional school counselor. I've been a school counselor for the last 14 years. Somewhere in there, I've also done 7 years of teaching. So total of 22, starting this year, 22 years of experience. Um, I have 3 degrees. I have an English degree, BA in English, and I have a master's in school counseling, and I have a doctorate in educational leadership.
Speaking of degree, Dr. Ibu, can you tell us how was your educational experience, from high school to college? Any obstacles you had to overcome?
There were plenty of obstacles. Well, first, I got to start off with my home training. My mom is a registered nurse by trade, and she worked over 40 years in every aspect of nursing. So, from turning patients, giving them baths, all the way to supervisor, different, hospitals or different settings, private duty, the whole gamut. My dad and mom actually met in college, and he did not finish. So that's another story for another day. But anyway, growing up, they instilled in us that we had to make sure that education was number one. So one of the things that was important was we could not bring home C's. So my mom had always made straight A's. So that was a challenge. So going to high school was not really a big deal. I always did fairly well because we had this in our, home. We couldn't bring home C's. And so all the way through elementary, middle school, high school, everything was okay until my senior year of high school. I had a C, my first C ever, and I about died. But it was in a math class, and I was just like, listen, this is the best I can do. This class is tough.
Yes.
So it's interesting that I talk about that because what actually happened in high school, I was kind of trying to figure out what I want to do. And I didn't have a great school counselor, which is why I take my role very seriously. My school counselor was a Caucasian male who just happened to look at what was on the paper and not look at me as an individual. It came out because of the items that my mom had us involved in. We were in Black Achievers, which is a program to kind of help foster different, occupations for students. And so my mom being a registered nurse, she wanted us to be exposed. My brother was in the engineering program. As of today, he is a civil engineer. And then I was kind of like, I don't know really what I want to do. I always liked animals, so I was thinking about being a veterinarian. Well, the only thing close to medical was the, medical field, kind of like being a doctor or a pharmacist. So I thought it was cool to be a pharmacist. Well, lo and behold, my senior year, I signed up for classes and I needed to take algebra 2 and chemistry. My counselor told me to my face that I did not have strong enough math skills to
Wow.
take the class. My mom came to the school and she was like, "No, we're gonna get you in that class because remember she's a registered nurse, so she understands the importance of the science and the math." And I was just like, "No, no, no, I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it." Well, the Lord has some funny things happen in your life. Senior year goes on. I don't take chemistry. I don't take algebra 2. Guess where I got accepted into college?
Oh my gosh.
Pharmacy.
No way.
Freshman. Pharmacy. Without chemistry and without algebra 2.
Wow.
Done.
That is crazy.
Crazy. So I was accepted and I was like, okay, I'm going to be a pharmacist. But because I did not have that foundation,
Mm.
I struggled in my first year.
Mm.
And I actually earned my first D in college. Now that was mortifying. because remember, we couldn't bring home C's.
Mhm.
So to earn a D, I thought the world was ending. So that was pivotal. And because how life is, and for me to go through those 3 years, those three different colleges, and to have that in the back of my mind, what somebody told me I could not do, then I was accepted into this entity where I needed math and I needed science. It was kind of like, what? How could this person say that? That was just so strange. And as a result, because I didn't have the foundation, I didn't do well. And so I use my approach when I work with students. Something happened this year. A student had an issue with a chemistry class. Student actually failed the first half of chemistry and and I got the student into a recovery class. And then before the second semester really got moving, like February, March time, the same student came in and said, "What's the next option? I'm not doing well in chemistry." I said, "No. We're not talking about the next option. Because today you don't know what you're going to do. You may tell me you want to do this over here, but in 10 years, you could be a registered nurse or a chemist or a scientist. I don't know, and you don't know, because life has a funny way of happening. And we're just like, wow, I didn't think I was going to be over here. I said, so you don't know if you need that class. So we're not going to talk about options. What we're going to talk about is, what did you do to put yourself in this situation?
Yes.
And she kind of looked at me and I said, well, I want to know, did you go to the Friday tutorials? No. Did you tell your teacher that your grade is unacceptable? Not being rude or nasty, but did you have that conversation? No. I said, but you're in my office crying and wanting to know what is the next thing. Like, how can I fix it? How can I put a Band-Aid on it? I can't put a Band-Aid on it. We're not going to put a Band-Aid on it because you just recovered you failed the first time and we recovered it already. So you're halfway done. We're going to finish. And so funny thing is, I kind of waited a little while, like a day or two, and I called her because we were virtual. And I said, hey, I'm just checking on you. How are things going? Because remember, in the back of my mind, I'm still dealing with that counselor that told me what I couldn't do. And then here it was, I got accepted into this program where I needed chemistry and I needed algebra too. And I probably will be a pharmacist to this day. Maybe.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, you just never know. And when I called her, she was ecstatic because she did those two small things that I asked her had she done. She hadn't talked to her teacher and she hadn't gone to the tutorials. Well, now that she's doing those things, things are better. Yeah. So it's like those little things, that's what we do as counselors. We help kids to connect the puzzle pieces and to see the bigger picture. I like to say, I'm painting you a picture so that you see all aspects. So it's not just using tunnel vision and I'm in school and this is it. No, I'm going to paint you an entire picture so you understand how this is going to look.
Yes, Dr. Medlock, I can definitely, vouch for you because I have worked with you as a teacher and also as a counselor, going to talk to you in the classroom and also in your office as a counselor. What I really love about you is your tough love and what I call real love, approach to students and, student success. Sometimes, you have to be real with these kids and tell them, look, this is what we are going to do. And I love that you put the responsibility of learning, back on the kids. Speaking of student success, Dr. Medlock, can you please, talk briefly about your book about student success? And can you show the audience the two books that you got published?
So I published Ways to Have a Successful High School Career, a School Counselor's Perspective, actually right before I got my doctorate in 2014. Yeah. So this is the first version. And then, of course, once I got my doctorate, I had to republish or reprint. And this is the second edition, same book. This was done by Author House, and then I self-published this one. And so basically the book is a how-to guide, how to, be successful in high school. Even though I'm a school counselor and I have several friends who are school counselors, no one put paper to pen
Yeah.
an actual roadmap. And everybody who's read is like, wow, this is great. So the book is broken down into what to do in ninth grade, what to do in 10th grade, what to do in 11th grade, what to do in 12th grade. And it really is a comprehensive roadmap. You know, it tells you to talk to your counselor. It tells you to check your grades, just things that kids just aren't even really thinking about. And they kind of think, I'm going to use this again, tunnel vision. I'm just in school and this is just going to happen. Well, things aren't just going to happen. You got to kind of like navigate. And, you know, like if you have the idea, I want to be valedictorian, well, you got to come up with a plan for that. You know, what does it take to become a valedictorian? That's the person who has the highest GPA in the school. What are you going to do to make that happen? What classes are you going to take? My book talks about honors classes and, you know, taking the pre-SAT and the pre-ACT, preparing for tomorrow, which I like to say, which is world of work, college, or the military. You got to prepare whatever you're trying to do. And then I have the companion, which is the workbook, because one of my wise friends told me I needed a workbook. And I was like, what? And so this goes along with the book because students can actually fill in items as it relates to them. So it becomes very personal. And again, it's broken down in the various grades, 9th grade, 10th grade, 11th grade, 12th grade.
Yeah.
So it just helps kids be successful. And that's the goal. And the reason I came up with the book is every time I would talk to a parent or a student, they would say some of the same things. And I was like, that's kind of interesting that these different people are saying the same things. And it's like, maybe they need some kind of handbook or guide.
Yes, yes.
Even though here we are at the school and it's like, we're saying this stuff in classroom guidance, maybe they just need something that they can just refer back to, you know, as often as they need to.
Yes, I love it. And then I was thinking, Dr. Medlock, you should do like a third edition where you actually put like, stories of students that you have helped, right? Because you have been in the education field so long. I think that'd be awesome to hear, like all those kids that you have helped moved on and move forward. Where can we get the books? Where can they get the books?
The books are on Amazon, and I also have some at home, but Amazon is gonna be the best place probably. I think Books a Million too online.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll put the information in the video so that way they can get access to it.
Okay.
All right. So my next question to you is, what advice do you have for students about life, college, or success? Or you can even tell me like, what was the best advice that you were given or that you have heard? So it's up to you.
Oh, that's a loaded question.
Yes. So anything, what would you say to those kids?
One of the best pieces of advice was given by my mother. She thinks I don't listen, but I listen. I think all moms think that. But she always told me, be better than me.
Wow.
So because she was a registered nurse, she said, if you ever want to do anything in the medical field, don't be the nurse, be the doctor.
Wow.
So, and she explained, the nurse is the one that stays with the patient. And then when the doctor comes in the morning, the doctor asks the nurse, what do you think I should give the patient? Or how did the patient act with this medicine? Because that nurse was there with that patient, 8 hours while the doctor was home asleep. So she's like, and the doctor makes more money. So it's kind of like use your head and your hands, be smart about it. And I like to use those same analogies with my students. Like, you got to think, just like I was just telling about the story with the student in the chemistry. Today, you want to be a tattoo artist, but in 10 years, who knows what it's going to be? And you got to prepare. And that's why when I tell my story about my counselor telling me what I couldn't do, and those were his words, you cannot do that based on your mathematical history. Not, well, let's try it and see. And see, those are words that I use with my students. Well, but, and I always say, I never tell a kid what they can't do because that was told to me. So I
Yes.
never tell a kid what they can't do, because if you have a desire to become a nurse or a doctor or whatever, who am I to tell you, well, you can't do this science, whatever. That's just not something that a counselor should say to a student. We should
Right.
always be encouraging that cheerleader. Okay, you can do it. You got this. And I think a lot of times that's what students get from me, and is that I'm their cheerleader. Like,
Yes.
even though this may seem bad, we can help turn it around.
Mhm. Yeah, I love that. I can definitely relate to that. Being a cheerleader for for students. Sometimes we may be the only cheerleader in the corner. Actually, Dr. Medlock, the last one of the last question is, what do you think is like your greatest achievement so far in your career or in your life?
Oh gosh. So far.
Because you have achieved a lot. You like, what Maya Angelou has, said, phenomenal woman, right? So, I mean,
Look,
you have a
I'm
great
trying.
career, a great family, and you have so much going on. So, what do you think is your greatest achievement?
Ooh. Um, I always say, even though I do what I do, I'm never gonna be teacher of the year, counselor of the year. Some people just cannot handle the forwardness and just honest. I'm not gonna give you sugar when it's salt. And I think that the students really appreciate that. And
Yeah.
so, one of the greatest takeaways for me, I'm still connected with many, many, many students that I have either taught or counseled. For example, some students that I counseled in Florida, I was their seventh grade teacher. They're well into their late 20s, early 30s,
Yes.
and they will still contact me on Facebook. What do you think I should do about this? They're asking me, their former seventh grade counselor, can you read my essay to get into a master's program? I had one of those last year. And I was just like, me? You want me to read it? Like, those little impacts that it may not seem like big,
Yeah.
but it is big. For those kids to, come back and want to be my friend on Facebook and
Yeah.
share, different things, and now they're married and having kids, and it's an awesome thing. So even though
Yeah.
my peers per se won't recognize me or whatever, I think it's great that the kids recognize me, in terms of
Yes.
what I did for them. And you don't go into this business, well, what am I gonna get? You don't do that. And
Yeah.
that's how you and I jailed. We were very, very similar with, we're just here to help the kids.
Yes.
Period. That's what we're
Yes.
going to do, is to help the kids. So when I see them having a smile on their face, or like the girl I was telling you about, and it just keeps happening. And one of the counselors this year said, it's interesting that you've had gifts. I'm the new man, so to speak, at our school. I'm
Yeah.
the new person coming, because I was teaching the year before. And I was the only one that got gifts from parents or kids or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was just like, well, you don't even think about it. It's like, okay, you're like, no big deal. But people recognize, okay, this person did that and they helped me, so that I didn't have to, deal with this or that. And so it's a serving role. And I'm just happy to be, to do that,
Yeah.
because you don't always get the recognition that you're supposed to get. And you can't worry about that. The goal
Yeah.
is that we help the kids. That's
Yeah.
it. That's what
Yes.
we do, is we help the kids. So I
Yeah.
sleep well knowing that I have done everything that I can do to help kids. And a couple things happened this year where some parents lied on me. And people lie, silly. They'll say things and it's like,
Yes.
that did not even happen. And then the people who don't even really know you, they don't know your work ethic or anything, they try to blame you, and it's like, you don't even know how I operate. You don't even know about these years of dealing with parents. I got some parents that are my Facebook friends. Parents. I was their kids' counselor, and the parents are my Facebook friends.
Mhm.
As if we hang out. We don't hang out, but through the years, it's just like, oh, that's so and so's counselor. I'm gonna be their friend,
Yeah.
and it's just organic. It's not like
Yeah.
I did something for them. I was their kid's counselor, and we just formed a friendship
Yeah.
just based off of that, based off of helping the kids be successful, and that's it.
Yeah, I totally, once again can, vouch for that because I feel like, that's how, like you said, we gel together because I could tell you really do care about the kids and their success and you would do anything to help them get there, so I really applaud you for that. So speaking of our relationship, Dr. Medlock, can you just briefly tell the audience what do you think you have learned from me as your co-worker, as your peer? When it comes to school or education or life. What do you think?
Oh goodness. I learned that there are some people like me.
Yes, I
And
love that.
I say that because I've been in many situations, and to encounter someone who is not about, oh, I'm just getting paid, or let me just pass all these kids, you reminded me of me
Yeah.
wanting the kids. And I say that because with English, I've always said this, with teaching English, kids hate it. They hate English, and it's not a secret. They hate
Yeah.
it. And for someone like you and I've always loved to read, always loved to write. I like English. It was always my best subject, always. And just like when I was writing my dissertation, my book, I wasn't more concerned about the dissertation. I was like, it'll get done. And it did.
Yeah.
But the thing was, like, someone who really, really,
Yeah.
genuinely cared about the kids and cared about their learning abilities. When you and I worked together and the stuff that we would share with kids in terms of projects and how we would bounce ideas off of each other, and the things that you would do that was additional, helping kids sign up for the SAT and the ACT, and getting books from your culture, letting me use them. When I taught multicultural lit, and you came and talked to my students about your experience from your culture, and just being able to holistically be honest with the kids, share with them about life. Because I think a lot of times adults get so caught up into the minutia of everything, the smoke and mirrors, they forget that we still are trying to help the students become productive citizens. It's
Yes.
not going to help us if the student can write a paragraph, but can they be productive citizens in society? That's what we want too. And that's why I often tell kids, what we do in high school is not just about what's in the book. It's
Yes.
not just about that. It's, can you operate with another human being? And I
Yes.
tell students all the time, what's happening now with your teacher, next time it's going to be your job. If
Yes.
you don't show up, you're not getting paid. And
Yes.
I just like to use these real world examples because it's real life.
Yes.
And the people that we're dealing with, because we work at a high school, they're young adults.
Yes.
So it's
Yeah.
like, we got to prepare them for tomorrow, whatever that is, world of work, college, or the military. Being prepared. You got to
Yeah.
be prepared. So I think we have a huge goal,
Yeah.
a huge task, and some of us take it very seriously. Um, I mean, like at our school, it's so many people who are teen kid. I mean, I can think of 10 right here, just off the top of my head.
Yes.
How these teachers stay after school and, work with kids. If I call a teacher and say, I need to talk to you about this student, it's not, what are you going to talk about? It's never an attitude. It's, okay, what can we do? And the person is open to listening. If we need to talk to the student, it's just a communal thing so that we help the kids. That's it.
Yes.
And it's not just about, oh, let me help them pass. It's about helping the kid holistically.
Yes, I love it. I think that's a perfect way to end it. And I want to say what I've learned from you, Dr. Medlock, is, it's kind of like an affirmation, actually, to it's okay to be true to yourself. And, I still remember all the times, walking down the hallway. And when I say something, you always say, you crack me up when you say, silly, you crazy, or you make me laugh, you know what I mean? Or like, I do all these crazy things and you're still so supportive. And I love that. I think in education is so important to have, someone that understands you and appreciate you for who you are. And I really do appreciate, like, like you and what you give to the students. So thank you so much for being here and taking the time out of your day. And oh my gosh, like you share so much information and knowledge with, students and parents. And I hope they do take this moment and to really listen to what you have to say. Okay, and I want to say, thank you to my audience. If you really took the time to listen to this, interview, I hope you learned something, from it, and then get her books. Like it will really help you, especially your students. And until next time, remember, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you want more stories. Until next time, remember what Maya Angelou always says. She says, if you only have one smile to give it to the people you love. Okay? Have a great day.
Have a great day.